Gonzaga Nation SI, the semifinals of the WCC conference tournament are here. Going to quickly preview that, and I will make my predictions for what happens tonight. It is the start of Gonzaga's postseason, a time when people that follow the Zags are Gonzaga fans are just used to one thing, and that is Gonzaga winning and advancing to the WCC conference tournament title game. I believe it's 23 straight conference tournament title game appearances, which is absolutely unbelievable when you think about it. So if you've ever, as a Zag fan, wanted to plan to go to the WCC tournament, whether it was at Santa Clara in the late 90s, San Diego in the early 2000s, whether it was on an on-campus gym site such as University of Portland or Gonzaga in the mid 2000s, or in Las Vegas where it's been for the last 12 years or so, you kind of know Gonzaga is going to be in the title game, so you can extend your trip the entire time and not have to scramble to make plans and fly home early. So always good to see and know if you're a Gonzaga fan. But let's first break down the two semifinal games first. Obviously, Gonzaga faces USF. This is going to be the third time these two teams face. Gonzaga beat the Dons by 16 in both games, and that's kind of a misleading score. I think the Dons had some good stretches in both games. If you look at that first game that was here in Spokane, the Dons were up early in that first half, and they looked really good. They looked really comfortable. Then Gonzaga kind of put a couple runs on them and kind of got back into that game midway through the first half. Then they were able to extend that lead out late in the second half. But to me, that was a closer game than a 16-point advantage and win for Gonzaga. And the same thing with the second game down in San Francisco. The Dons played well. I didn't think it seemed like a 16-point game. And when you look at this game on a neutral site floor, USF looks as if they've clinched a at-large NCAA tournament bid. They can absolutely secure one with a win against Gonzaga. I think you're going to see a USF team come out and play with a ton of passion, ton of energy. I would think because they've got a really experienced ball club, a lot of poise. So I think for Gonzaga, I think what you look at for keys for them is you got to limit the backcourt of the Dons, and that's Jamari Bouye and that's Khalil Shabazz for the most part. But it's also Gabe Stefanini and Julian Rishwain. Limit those guys from the three-point line because all four of those guys can get hot and get hot in a hurry, especially when you look at Shabazz. Shabazz didn't play great in either of the two games against Gonzaga earlier, but he plays with a ton of pride. He plays with a ton of passion. He's one of those guys in the league that if he gets hot, he can drop 30 on the opponent pretty quickly. So I think Gonzaga's got to do a really good job of limiting the backcourt of the Dons. The other thing I think they need to do is they have to take good care of the basketball. They did not do that against St. Mary's in the season finale. And it's different because St. Mary's is more of a stay in front of you type of defense, where USF, their guards are quick enough, in particular Bouye and Shabazz. Well, they'll pick you up, they'll try to turn you a little bit, they'll gamble, where St. Mary's defensively on the perimeter rarely gambles. But both those two guards that I mentioned, Bouye, Shabazz, average nearly 2 steals a game. So I think Gonzaga's got to do a great job taking care of the ball in that regards. I think the keys for USF, got to limit Chet Holmgren. And it's easier said than done. Chet Holmgren in the two games against the Dons, I think it's 68% from the field, an absurd number. He's played really well against them in the two games. The game at USF, 21 points, 15 rebounds, 6 block shots. I mean, that is an epic game right there. That is a game where your imprint, your footprint is put on all facets of the game. And I think the other thing that they need to do, Gonzaga USF is pound the glass. Gonzaga's obviously got a great rebounder in Chet Holmgren, another great rebounder in Timmy. They've got some good rebounding from the wing, in particular with Julian Strother, but they've got the size to match up You look at Patrick Tape, you look at Masalski, and you look at Vladimir Markovetsky. He played big minutes against BYU. He's got the size to bang, maybe use some fouls against GU, as well as be an impact player on the glass. And that's a unique and interesting story. That's a kind of a heartwarming story. You saw he played big minutes against BYU. On the personal side, you hope he gets a chance to play against Gonzaga in extended minutes and play well. I'm always pulling for Gonzaga as long as I'm not calling the game. But you want to see a story like Markovetsky play well. It's simply because following everything in the world news right now, Markovetsky is from Ukraine. He's got family still in Ukraine. He's playing with a heavy heart. He's playing on a very little sleep right now. So you hope that he can kind of get away from the stresses of that part of his life for a few hours and play really well and enjoy postseason basketball. When you look at my prediction, I'm going to say GU finishes the trifecta, the 3-game sweep of the Dons during the regular season. I think they're going to win by 12. I think it's going to be a really close game. I think San Francisco is going to come out, like I mentioned, play with a ton of pride, poise, and they're going to bolster their resume. I think they're in. I think if they put up a good effort, you're not going to see them on the play-in game line. I think you're going to see them as a true, first-round opponent to somebody, and I think that's great for the WCC. Second semifinal is Santa Clara, who has been playing really good as of late. They knocked off University of Portland, but Herb Sendik's got his guys playing very well. Third place finish in the league because of how the statistical Ken Pomeroy analysis broke out. They were the 3 seed, so they will play St. Mary's in the second game of the night. Herb Sendik's a unique coach. He's a great coach. He's taken 3 teams to the NCAA tournament: Miami of Ohio, North Carolina State, as well as Arizona State. And when Santa Clara hired him, they knew that they had a coach that understands the formula of how to be successful, kind of at that mid-major level, being Miami of Ohio, but also at the higher level, and bring some experience and some name recognition from coaching in the ACC and the Pac-12 over the last 2 stops that he's had. I think his program is definitely where he's wanted it to get to, and that's having a shot at the NCAA tournament. And they're playing really good basketball right now. If you take out an 8-game stretch where Josip Vrankic missed and they went 4-4, we could be talking about them being a true on the bubble type NCAA team. They are top 70 in the net right now. And when you look at that, there's 5 teams in the top 70 of the net in the WCC. The West Coast Conference the Pac-12 can't touch that. Yes, the Pac-12 is going to have 3 teams in, but when you talk about 5 in the top 70 in net, Pac-12 doesn't have that. I think they've got 4, and then it's a pretty big discrepancy from there. So for Santa Clara, the keys to me is they got to make threes. Their last couple games, they've really shot it well from 3. They made double-figure threes. I believe it was 13 threes against Portland in the quarterfinals the other night. If they can keep that up, they're going to have a chance to put a scare in St. Mary's and maybe knock them off and advance to the title game. But that's easier said than done because St. Mary's is one of the better defensive teams in the country as far as not allowing you to get good looks from the 3-point line. So that's going to be a key, is get good looks from the 3 and knock them down. For St. Mary's, the keys to me, I think they've got to get off to a good early start and kind of take away a lot of that confidence that Santa Clara has been playing with and put some doubt in their mind as to if they can get the job done tonight. And the reason I say that is because against Gonzaga in the season finale, they came out, they got off to a great start. They led the entire game. I don't think Gonzaga had a single lead the entire game. And if they can get off to a start like they did against GU, they can play at their pace. And their pace, they want the game in the 60s. Santa Clara wants it in the 70s. Gonzaga obviously wants it in the 90s. But Santa Clara, when you play at their pace, They are unbelievably difficult to beat. So my prediction, my pick will be St. Mary's by 6, and we are going to see a Gonzaga St. Mary's title game tilt in the WCC tournament.